Welcome back. It is we are back after the All Star game. I know I missed a week ago, but we're back. Got a new setup. We're not in the tundra this week. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Um, but yeah, we are rolling in close to the postseason here, and it's been a few weeks since I did an update. It's been clear that a few teams have tanked. Not really tanked, but there's been a lack of competitiveness at the bottom. And since that was starting to happen, we ended up just locking the lottery. I know some of you guys seen those messages that one day. I know I haven't given an update since then, but we just felt like it was the best thing to do, since I think this league needed to be more competitive as we got into closer to the playoffs. It's already difficult enough with how bad the injuries have been this year and guys just sitting. So I felt like it was the right thing to do, and Wyatt was on the same page as me. Mainly, it was Wyatt and I's um, situation that was going to cause more issues of potentially taking on purpose, trading wins for potential picks, stuff like that. We didn't want that stuff going on, so we just went ahead and locked the lottery. And I felt, like I said, that was the right thing to do, and hopefully, we throughout the rest of the year we just get um, continual competitive weeks from everybody. We've seen last week where Murph's team had a great week. Believe he was second in scoring. That's good to see. I mean, he he scored over 400 points. He hasn't done that all year, and he locked in guys that he needed to lock in. I know the damage already has been done for this year with the tanking situation. But to be fair, I was getting kind of tired of it myself, and it was putting us all in kind of a bad situation. Now, only if the NBA could fix their taking situation. I don't know what the answer to that is, but it's clearly an issue in the league, even, and it's affecting our fantasy seasons at that. So, I really would like to say that the NBA's right now. This is a very difficult fantasy season that we've had. Um, just so many injuries. One, odd rotations, and two, like the tanking has been awful. I mean, any Utah Jazz player that you have that's a stud isn't getting minutes. Wizards players aren't getting minutes. Uh, the list goes on and on. There's the bottom 10 teams, like you don't know who you're gonna get every night. So it's really been a struggle. But we're just gonna weather the storm, and hopefully at some point um, something happens with the league. Hopefully next year. Hopefully it just makes this a lot better for all of us, because this has been very difficult in a dynasty league to deal with, the issues that the league is having. And the NBA is following what the GBA commissioners doing. So I don't know what to say, but all I know is I guess I need to run for the NBA commissioner if that was a way to run. But all right, let's get into a little bit that's been going on in the league. I'm going to go back and do last week, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about this week, because normally I do these on Mondays. I'm getting to the busy season at work, and I know I'm probably not going to get any of these out. So we're going to go back, talk a little bit about Week 17. Week 17, we saw the Beecher Creatures fall to the Arlington Tax Evaders. Freaking the Sheets drops one to Trent. Trent moves to an 11-6 record. He's had a very nice season here as of late. Murph picks up the win over the Flagrant Fowlers. The Fowlers fall to 8-9, still holding on to that sixth seed. The Watts Gucci and the Hospital Hoopers takes down Clarence by 4 points. That was a very tight one last week, and I'm glad that we had a competitive matchup. And then the Blade Breakers take down Sergio. Nice win there for the Blade Breakers. So that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see these teams that had been taking perform well. We saw where Murph takes down a win, and uh, as well as the Blade Breakers. So that's pretty nice to see. Now on to this week. These aren't final yet, but the only two matchups that are kind of close are the Lumberjacks and the Tax Evaders and the Fowlers and Clarence. So looks like the Beachy Creatures are probably going to fall here to Daniel. Daniel's had a couple huge nights this week. Cade Cunningham dropped an 80 piece. Jalen Brown 60. Jared Allen had a nice 50-point game, and my guys just haven't. It's just so all these guys are coming back off injuries. Minutes are limited. I don't have Sar. Apparently he's hurt. So a lot of these guys I've depended on have just not been playing, or they're coming off injuries and they're unlimited minutes. So that's not helping me any. The Lumberjacks are going to fall more than likely to the Tax Evaders. Knipples had another huge game the other night. Jalen Johnson, he had another 50-some point game. Wimby hasn't really been Wimby. He had a 70-point game last night, but Murph locked in a 54. So kind of interesting to watch Wimby. He seems to be a little bit more inconsistent this year. Hospital Hoopers are going to take down Sergio. This is pretty well locked. Sergio actually had some good performances this week. He's got one here from Desmond Bain and Ryan Rollins. Brandon Ingram had a 55 piece, but it's tough to weather the storm when you have Watts. Basically, top to bottom, everybody's putting up more than 40 points. His biggest this week so far has been Jokic with a 64 piece. Trent looking like he's going to get another win here against the Blade Breakers. Brunson is dropped a 50 piece. Matherin, who he acquired from his brother, dropped a 55 piece. Buzelis had a 47, who he also acquired in that trade for Alex Sarr. Andrew Wiggins a 40 piece. John Collins a 40 piece. Yeah, there's been some nice games there. The Blade Breakers really haven't had anybody pop off. I mean, everybody's been in the 30s. And then the Fowlers are probably going to fall here to Clarence, but it just depends what happens tonight. Chet Holmgren's right now in the fourth quarter got a 46 piece, but GG Jackson's looks pretty decent as of late after the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. But yeah, there's really kind of looking at this. I mean, this one's actually a little bit more up in the air than I expected because Clarence hasn't locked in very many spots. So depending on how that shakes out, we could see Michael getting a win there over Clarence. That one's actually going to be up in the air. So look at the standings. The bottom four teams have been set. So Murph is going to be the bottom seed, number 1 pick. Daniel's team has the number 2 pick. The Blade Breakers have the highest odds to get the 3 pick. I want to say it was a 70-30 split, and then myself in the 4 spot with a 30% chance of getting the number 3 pick. And that there is actually a trade in that Alex Sarr trade where I ended up trading that pick to Trent. He's going to take the risk. It probably would have, if I just would have traded that, it probably would have solved the issue and I'd still be trying to make the playoffs. But I didn't do that until then. Trent didn't act like he wanted to trade Sarr. So what did I do? I just ended up blocking the lottery. I felt like that was fair. But so that means the Flagrant Fowlers are in 6th right now, hanging on to that final playoff spot. Team Sergio is 9-8 in the 5th spot. You Just Gotta Believe is they're in the 4th spot. Trent is now in the 3rd spot. The Hospital Hoopers and Watts are in the 2 spot, very injured team. And then the Tax Evaders are number 1 with the most points scored in the league. So he's having a heck of a year. you look at some of the other teams, and you look at the bottom playoff spots. He's got 1,000 more points scored this year than the bottom team in the playoffs. So on to rankings. At number 10, Daniel. Daniel's team is the same spot it's always been. It's just probably should have made some moves at the trade deadline. That was kind of clear. Probably should have looked to move Embiid. I think he even had offers for Embiid, from my understanding. Just didn't move anybody. Hopefully Embiid, still holds his value into next season, and he can maybe move him for something. But Daniel's team right now is just kind of a shell of what it used to be. This team used to be really solid, but now he has to make some moves. I mean, it's clear he's either going to have to go through the draft, which I know he doesn't have his pick for this year, or he's going to need to trade off some of his pieces and just start fresh, start young, hope he picks some players that he's interested in. At the number 9 spot, I got the Beecher Creatures. The Beecher Creatures have been struggling. We've lost 8 straight. We went from 5-4 to 5-12. We just have not had. We've had injuries, one that have hurt, but our team is a lot of youth, and the youth is just inconsistent. Hoping some of those guys pan out. I'm hoping to get some clarity here before the end of the season. I got the draft picks, hoping to get a solid player with that number 2 pick, and then I also have Trent's pick in the middle of the first round. Potentially could be all the way up into I could get the 10th pick if Trent ends up winning. But yeah, the Beecher Creatures right now are just struggling to get wins. Had some good weeks, just hasn't all come to fruition on the same week. At number 8, I got the Blade Breakers. The Blade Breakers have looked a little better now that the tanking thing is over. This team have felt like it could be competitive throughout the year. It just hasn't been. So I don't know. I don't know what to really say about them right now. I mean, yeah, they're a middle tier team. I mean, that's kind of where we're looking at them at. So I think that they're probably going to be competitive next year. But this team confuses me completely, actually. He's got pieces, but I don't know if they're really as big of names as they're just, I don't know. They're performing decently, but I don't know if they're like high-end performers. I mean, Isaiah Collier has been unbelievable lately. Norman Powell is having an all-star season. Yeah, I don't know. This team, Colin Gillespie, like what? I mean, this team is just kind of a bunch of no names that are putting together solid years, and I don't know if that's hope that gives me hope for him, or if that just makes me feel like this team's going to be in the same spot as they were last year. I don't know. I don't know what to say, but he's at number 8. At number 6 or number 7, we have the Louisville Lumberjacks. They've won 2 straight now. After the whole tanking fiasco is over, he's won 2 straight. This team has been good all year. Let's just say it. The fact that we're seeing now that the number 1 seed's locked in, that he can compete with anybody in the league. It only proves me right that there was no reason for this team to tank this year. And, Murph has even donated an extra $20 to the pot this year after the whole situation. So, maybe it's a little hush money thing to shut up the rest of the league. But, yeah, this team is solid. This team next year is probably going to be a top 4 team, maybe even the top 2 or 3 team. He has the number 1 pick coming up, so that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, here we have the Flagrant Fowlers at number 6. This team is in a very interesting spot as well. I don't know if they're building for the future or if they need to tear this thing down. I know they have Halliburton on the IR. That was a big hit for this year. But, I mean, come on, Kevin Porter, Cam Thomas, G.G. Jackson. I mean, are these guys actually the type of guys that are going to develop and be solid fantasy assets? I don't know. I mean, we got an aging Russell Westbrook. We got Jaime Jaquez, who's been solid this year. And Giannis isn't playing anytime soon. Miles Bridges has been out. I mean, I think this team has been injured, but the upside, I just don't feel like can get to that, championship level that we have seen from him in the past. It's really fallen off this year. So I'll be interested to see what happens as we roll into the postseason with this team and roll into the next year with this team. So right now, the Fowlers are at 6. At number 5, I'm going to put Sergio here. Sergio has put together his first season in this league. He's put together a nice season. He's sitting at 9-8 with a team that has been a little all over the place. He's dealt with Ja Morant's injury, Malik Monk not getting the minutes he deserves, Jaden Ivey not playing much. He's kind of just strung this decent season along. The good thing is he has some youth. Ryan Rollins has been a nice surprise. But again, this team, other than, Sengun, I don't really know if this team has a high ceiling. He might want to try and move a couple of these pieces in the offseason. I don't know. But to me, this team isn't championship caliber, but they're having a nice season. Maybe they can get a first-round upset and maybe sneak into a championship game or a semifinal game. But for right now, I want to put this team right in the middle of the pack. I think this team can go either way next year. But for now, I just want to keep them at number 5. At number 4, the loser of 3 straight. This is a team I think the last time I got on here, I was hyping up as a team that I felt could win this whole league. They have now let me down. They were 11-3, and they are now 11-6. Clarence's team's just struggled. It has struggled mightily. Man, I don't know. This team's still solid on paper. As I think I say every time, this team is solid on paper. But I just don't know if it has the meat now on the bone to get it done. I mean, I think if this team's sitting here in the 4th spot into the playoffs, this is the scariest team to knock off Marsh. I think it could happen with this team, but they've had some duds lately, and you want to be playing your best basketball as we go into the end of the year, and right now Clarence isn't. So maybe the lull is before the postseason, but he's going to need to get back on track soon, and some of his guys are going to need to get back on track soon. We'll see what happens, but Clarence is coming in at the number 4 spot. Trent moves up to the number 3 spot. It's the team that the last time I did this, he was in the 5 or 6 spot. But he's had some good nights from some guys. Buzelis has been a nice addition. Mathurin has been a nice addition, especially with Sarr not playing like at all. That's been very, very aggravating. And he's still without Steph Curry right now. Nick Clifford has been a nice addition. He's given him some nice games here and there. Brandon Miller, nice addition. Zubac really hasn't played in Indiana yet. But he's done a good job of managing this team, and probably right now, looking at potential manager of the year in the GBA. He's done a great job. As much as I kind of hate this team with the CJ McCollum, Andrew Wiggins, John Collins, Alexander Walker, Michael Porter, like these guys are they were write-offs going into last year, or in last year. They weren't number one options on their teams, and some of them still aren't. But the fantasy side, they've been really solid. So I don't know. This team might shock everybody, but right now I'm putting him at 3. And I got to give him his kudos. He's managed his team really well. He's picked up some great pieces off the waiver wire, and he continues to threaten, um, the top of the league. So at number 2, we got the Hospital Hoopers. Injuries. We've talked about it. This team's probably suffered more issues than anybody, Michael included. I think that this team has had, between Sabonis, Trae Young, Franz Wagner. Holy cow. Sabonis, Jalen Williams, Franz Wagner, Dylan Brooks now hurt, broke his hand. Scoot Henderson has been out a ton. Shea's been out. Trae Young's been out. Gobert is now out. Jokic was out earlier this season. This team has suffered more injuries than anybody in the league, and they're still at number 2. I guess that's what I said at the beginning of the year, this team was the deepest team in the league. Sitting at 15-2 with all these injuries is just insane. The problem is they're going to get into the playoffs, and none of these guys are going to come back and play. So, I mean, if Watts can somehow pull out a championship, it'd be a very, very, it'd be an underdog story, really. I mean, if we're being honest, I know he's not an underdog by any means, but the adversity this team has faced is more than any other team in the league, and he's still sitting at 15-2. Maybe that just goes to show that he's done a good job managing the past 3 years, and he's deep. But the number 1 team is the Arlington Taxpayers. His team has been a wagon just about the whole season. The Con Knipple pick has been great. Jalen Johnson's been solid. Hartenstein's been nice. Doncic still dropping a 70-piece this week. I mean, there's been some nice stuff. Keontae George's emergence in Utah. The thing that sucks is he's probably not going to play a ton the rest of the year. Grayson Allen's been a nice pickup for him. I think that one came off the waiver wire. And then, it's just he's dealt with some injuries too. Anthony Davis. Devin Booker being hurt here and there. Taxpayers are right now probably, they're the best team in the league. The ceiling of this team is very high, but this team could throw up a stinker. James Harden's usually a 40-piece night, but then Con could have a bad week. Jalen Johnson could have a bad week. Josh Hart probably scoring in the 30s. He's just got a lot of guys that are consistent, but there could be a chance that this team just ends up flopping. I don't know why I get that sense from this team, but I don't know. Marsh is going to hate this breakdown. I know he is. But I don't know. I don't know what it is about this team. It just doesn't get me excited. I'm sorry, Marsh. It doesn't. It's just a bunch of I don't know. I look at Watts' team and I'm like, yeah, this team's on paper is the best team in the league. But then I look at this team and I'm like, this team's good. Like, it's good, but is it better? I don't know. So I don't know. Marsh, you're number 1. Take it for what it is. You've had a great season so far. And I think it'll be interesting to see what these teams do as we get into playoffs. I want to say we are in week 18. We have 4 weeks left. Oh no. Sorry, we have 3 weeks. So there will be We have 19, 20, and 20. Oh no, 19 and 20. We have 2 weeks left. 2 weeks. So we'll see what kind of rolls out. There will definitely be a video for the playoffs. I will try and get that out. And then once we get through the playoffs, there will be an awards video, and crowning the champion of the league. And from there, I mean, we'll be rolling into the next season before we know it. So I know it always kind of sneaks up on us, and these last couple weeks fly by. But and we're going to have to talk about the changes that we want to make with the lottery, and some other changes we want to make in the league. So I'll probably talk about those a little bit more once we get towards the end of the season. But I appreciate you all for watching. Got this done in under 30 minutes and covered a lot. So appreciate you guys watching. The Tundra Rankings have a new home in here on Sundays. So hopefully, every few weeks I can get in here and get you guys a video. We'll see you guys later. Peace.